What's going on, spooky people? It's Paranormal Gamer here, back with another video. A new video. We're going to be doing 2 parts, maybe 3 parts to this, of the best Goosebumps episodes to ever grace this world. And we're not really going to do them in any particular order, but I just want to go over some of the most memorable ones to me, and not really critically acclaimed best or anything like that, just the ones that stuck with me after all these years. In honor of the spirit of Halloween, I hope you guys enjoy. Let's get right into it as we talk about some of these awesome nostalgic episodes of Goosebumps. The first episode is definitely one of my favorites. It's called The Girl Who Cried Monster. And in this episode, our main character Lucy likes the library a lot, and she's a typical bookworm, but she goes to this library in town that has this weird ass librarian. Lucy's really interested in monsters, and so she likes reading monster books and is just really into that, right? So she stays at the library when she's not supposed to and gets a glimpse of why this librarian is so damn creepy. This librarian turns into a bug, alien looking terrestrial creature that I've never seen before. He's just completely disgusting. And shout out to the prop makers back then for making something just so disgustingly awesome. So yeah, Lucy sees him change into this thing, and this thing pulls out bugs from underneath his desk and stuff, starts eating crickets. He's just straight up monster mode. You already know the business is about to happen. So luckily, Lucy sneaks away, gets away. And just like everyone else would do, she starts telling her parents and tells her friend, hey, I just saw a monster. Like, the library's a flesh-eating man-killer. Can you please help me? But no, the parents don't believe her, hence the name, The Girl Who Cried Monster. So, obviously, she's just making stuff up. There's no such thing as monsters, blah, 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 blah. Lucy has the balls of a many-honored war veteran, because this 12-year-old little girl goes back to the library with a fucking portable flash camera and then waits until the library's closed to catch the librarian turning into a monster yet again, but this time to get physical evidence. I don't know about you guys, but if I saw that thing, I'm probably not going back. I might not read anymore. So Lucy gets the picture, she gets the proof that she needs, but the monster sees her, and then she knows that she's caught, right? So she gets up and books it, and this monster lays down one of the most incredible one-liner monster dad jokes I've ever heard in my life. Like, bro, what a perfect opportunity. And they seize the moment perfectly. I gotta give it to them. But anyway, back to the story. Lucy narrowly avoids getting eaten like a bug and books it back home. She books it back home without her evidence, though. The librarian comes back to her house with her bag that the camera's in. Tries to come in the house to give her the bag. And the stalker, he has to hear no 20 times before he finally leaves it on the porch and rolls out, right? So she's excited. She grabs the bag, makes sure that her camera's in there, and then later on that night when her parents get home, she tells her parents, hey, you've got to bring me to the photo development place and get these photos developed, because this is the proof right here. You think I'm lying? They go to the photo development place, get the photos developed, and on the way out, the stalker librarian comes out of nowhere. She drops all the pictures, of course, and then he finds the picture that is the proof, takes it away, and then tries to roll out. But her parents are like, hey, you've been spending so much time with our daughter and whatnot. We'd like to get to know you. Why don't you come over for dinner? So the librarian comes over for dinner, thinking that he's going to have their family for dessert. I mean, he's a monster. You got to remember that. But when the librarian gets there, the biggest Uno reverse in children's horror that I've ever seen happens. And it turns out that Lucy's parents are also monsters, but carnivorous, crazy, actually really creepy looking monsters. And they eat the librarian. They eat the librarian. I'm not joking right now. I didn't remember this quite like it was, but they sure do. So then it turns out the whole reason that her parents didn't believe him because it's been 20 years since the last monster came to town. And right as they're saying that, it looks like another monster is at their door. So they're getting ready. They want seconds. They're somehow still hungry. And it turns out that it's her one friend that never believed her wearing a mask who almost got chopped up for dinner. And oh my god, is that wild. For our next episode, we're going to bring back a all-time classic. I definitely read this book when I was in school and for sure saw the episode. This one is Say Cheese and Die. In this episode, we get a group of young delinquents running through the streets and see a homeless man that they think eats birds and squirrels and all these like things, so they want to chase him down and just kind of watch him like an old documentary film. So they chase him down into his little hideout and find that he's got all this like tech stuff and just weird science lab looking place. They see this really cool camera and they're like, yoink. So the little heathens run off with the camera and they take a picture. Our main character takes a picture of his friend on the staircase to his place. Shortly after that, his friend falls off the stairwell. Luckily, he's not too hurt, but after they get out, they check the picture that comes out of the camera, and it shows his friend falling off of the stairwell. They find it a little odd, but keep pressing on. So our main character, Greg, takes the camera home. They got away from the homeless man, and he takes a picture of his older brother in front of his dad's brand new car. In this picture, it shows the car has been totaled in a head-on collision. This makes Greg think back to when he took that first picture of his friend, and he knows his family's in imminent danger. Now, knowing that everybody's going to think he's crazy, to be honest, I don't know why he didn't show his older brother the picture of the car, but fear? At the dinner table later on that evening, his dad asks him how he likes the car, and like, he flips out. He's like, I don't like the car. I think you should get something else. You know, he's seen this picture now. And his dad's like, nonsense. Let's go take a ride. And they go out, and this kid is terrified. Greg is terrified in the back seat. Now, the car spins out of control, and nobody's hurt. So he got extremely lucky, and maybe he could chalk up everything. Maybe the car in the picture that he took was just smeared in a certain way to make it look like it was totaled. He meets up with his two other friends, and they decide to take a picture of his one friend. She leans up against a tree and takes a picture, and in this picture, she's gone. The next thing Greg knows, she's really gone. The freaking FBI pulls up on Greg. He doesn't know what to say. He gets off narrowly and now knows that he has to return the camera. The final straw for him, I think, is when he has a nightmare that he's taking a picture of his whole family in the backyard barbecuing, and the camera shows that they're all skeletons, which is pretty horrifying. I mean, I'm gonna return the camera too. So they set out, or just him, because the third friend doesn't want to go and the second friend is missing. She disappeared after that picture. So he goes and goes back to where it all took place, the warehouse where this homeless man lives. Go to his little laboratory, and once he gets there, he meets up with his missing friend. So she's alive and well, which is great. And then they try to return this camera. So they get down to the laboratory, put it back, and all of a sudden he pops up behind them and says that you're not leaving at all. So then they manage to get the camera and take a picture of him, and then he gets trapped into the camera for eternity. But the group of teen bullies that were bullying our main characters earlier wound up sneaking into the lab, getting the camera and taking a picture with it, and then presto, he's back. And that's how that episode ends, but this is one of the few Goosebumps episodes that does have a sequel. Spoiler alert for the next video, I will be covering the sequel. And that wraps up the first two in our countdown to the very best Goosebumps episodes. I think the reason why we can still look back on some of these episodes. It's just because how borderline R.L. Stine was with his writing. Like, when I say borderline, it's just because some of these, like, quote unquote children's horror stories have like serious weight to them. You have people's families' lives put in jeopardy, their own lives put in jeopardy, all kinds of like heavy things that you usually wouldn't see in something like this. But it's done so masterfully that it works. I always couldn't wait to get home during the spooky season after school and catch Goosebumps on. It was just one of the best TV childhood moments for sure. Like, I loved Goosebumps. I know we all can relate. I know we all saw those books in the library growing up. I hope you guys enjoyed part 1 of the countdown of best Goosebumps episodes. Hit that like if you liked the video and subscribe to catch the next one. Hope you guys have an awesome night. Stay spooky.